Welcome to Heath House. This is me, Geoff, in the mirror, and the mirror is interesting because you see reflections of areas of the garden from a different angle, back to front in fact. But it's 31st of March 2021 and we are looking at camelias and things like that. The garden is looking absolutely brilliant. The weather forecast tells me it's a sunny interval, but it isn't. We'll now go across the formal area, which has nice raised beds of grass and a pond, and gravel, which you may remember I don't particularly like because it goes crunch crunch. It's not good for wheelchairs either, but this is really the only part of the garden that is not accessible to wheelchairs. So let's go over to the far side through the dappled area. On the way, as usual, I get distracted. At the foot of the giant metasequoia there's a lovely gathering. We've got some little bulbocodiums, almost white. We've got cyclamen and of course daffodils in various shapes and sizes. But on we go through there. And here we are in the dappled area. It would be dappled if there was any sunlight, but there isn't. What have we got here? We've got hellebores, absolute mass of them, looking brilliant. A few primroses and a rather nice daphne. Let's wander on. Up to the Sleeper Bridge, and this is really quite a wow moment. There are just masses of daffodils and nearer at hand primroses, little violets, and of course the odd camellia in bloom, looking really quite good, I think. Bringing round to here, amongst the primroses and so on, we've got the first pegals, cowslips coming up, and behind them, look at that, that's oxslips, which is really quite a triumph. Somebody gave us them last year and they're actually doing well, which is brilliant. We're now wandering through the more lyrical curved areas of the garden, and just look at all these daffodils. They are brilliant. One that came out a couple of days ago is this one, which is called Professor Einstein. And what it's got to do with relativity, I really don't know, but it's a wonderful daffodil and it's been here for quite a few years. Down the side are lots and lots of camelias in various stages of being out or not out, and they don't all come out at once. These white ones haven't really yet started. Some of the pink ones are looking particularly beautiful. Another white one almost out. Oh, so nearly. Tomorrow morning that'll be there, I think. Oh no, here's another white one just out. So you never know what you're going to find. And if we swing round back into the middle of the garden, look at this lot. Fritillarias. They've been out for about 4 days now, I should think, and they've suddenly come with that burst of heat we had. And look at them, aren't they absolutely brilliant? I'm going to go round over that way now. You know what this is. It's Glory of the Snow, I think. Chionodoxa, perhaps? Yeah, I feel quite pleased at remembering that. Lovely, in the grass, by the walnut tree. And over the far side, in front of that enormous eucalyptus, is a rather nice plant. These lovely racemes hanging down, and if I look at the label, it's a Stachyurus chinensis called Chelina. So now we both know. I've got back to the fritillarias now and wandering along that edge. by the box balls. Let's just pause to look at this, because this is Nandina domestica, and it's an absolute star of a plant. Comes up with those lovely red berries, and the leaves change colour as the season goes through. It's brilliant. We go through here to the well-named oval lawn, and we've got some new birches planted along the fence there, and they're beginning to look quite nice, and a camellia in the distance. This is my assistant producer, Molly the cat from next door. I feel sometimes I'm turning into a sort of feline version of Monty Don, but no, she's not interested at the moment. We'll quickly go through here. This is our round lawn, which has got lovely borders in it. Nothing much to look at the moment, of course, but oh boy, look at all these hellebores and camelias. That's a very nice form there. Isn't that great? And over here, the famous Mrs. Davies, who you may recall is definitely the party girl, and look at her, isn't that just absolutely wonderful? And more hellebores here, great clumps. These are the tall ones. We'll go on now to the meadow. Right, well, I'm in the middle of the meadow now, and it's a difficult area to deal with on video because everything's quite sort of distant and small, but there are little dots of yellow, and what they are more of those bulbocodiums. And here's a group of them here. And they're about 8 inches tall and absolutely wonderful to look at. In the far distance, there's primroses and more daffodils. We'll go over and take a look. And on the pond, a couple of ducks. They're always house hunting at this time of year, and I never quite like it here because it hasn't got a duck house in the middle of the pond. Anyway, we'll leave them. By the pond edge, there's more fritillarias, 1 or 2 miniature daffs that are beginning to go over. Soon we'll have camelias here as well, and the first of the kingcups just beginning to come up. Now he's quite dwarfed by the yellow chap over there. This is a Lysichuton americanum, known in America I think as the skunk cabbage, but I think it looks better than that. The red dogwoods and the willows were providing a wonderful set of stem colour until a few weeks ago, when we gave them a good prune so that they'll come up again next year. But in their place has come up an absolute mass of daffodils, the smaller ones, and also yet more fritillarias. So this area, oh, and primroses as well, so that's good. Primroses all over the place actually, really looking good. Let's go over to that green bush in the far distance. Here we are, nestling in the blackthorn. You ought to know what this is. It's a winter flowering honeysuckle, just getting to the end of its flowering life. Hiding in the ivy and amongst the primroses, we've got windflowers, wood anemones, all sorts of plants like that, just tucked away, hiding to be found. This area next to the summer house has been brilliant. We've had a huge number of cyclamen come up here. The primroses are now at their best, and we've got various little bits of dogwood and so on, which look nice. Over the far side, you may just be able to see epimediums. I'll try and tramp through the bed and show them to you. Whoa! There they are. All the leaves have been cut off so that we can see the flowers, and then the leaves will regenerate very quickly. And under my foot somewhere here is a dogtooth violet or two, and they're just beginning to come into flower now. Hiding in front of the summer house is one of the last of the irises. They are so delicate, absolutely beautiful. They've been flowering like mad for quite a long time over the winter, so they're such a joy. Yeah, that's a good one. And yet more daffodils as we go on. And over here you can just, well, you can't see them, but I can. There are one or two more pegals just beginning to come up. Well, I hope that's been a bit of a break for you, just to have a quick look around at one or two features. I'm looking at the round lawn now, which has what the lawnmower people call the sought after striped effect. And you can see it from this end, and now I'm going to walk to the other end, and that looks quite different to me. And I'll tell you what I've done. I've adjusted the mowing so that the striped effect gets narrower as you get to the far end, and that makes the far end of the lawn look a lot farther away. So going this way, the meadow appears distant. Coming back, the camelias in the bed behind me will appear to be a lot closer. And this is a trick of mowing that I heard from Stephen Anderton, who was in charge of the National Trust Gardens a long time ago. He gave a talk at Writtle, and he said if you've got a mower you can do all sorts of funny things with it, and I quite like doing that because mowing is exceptionally boring. And the other thing he said was that if you're putting a flower bed into a lawn, cut the shape with the mower first and then take a look at it, because the grass will grow again in 2 or 3 weeks if you've made a mistake, but once you've dug a hole in the lawn you're rather stuck with it. So just another useful tip, too much information probably. If you come to us in June, you'll see these herbaceous beds in all their glory, and that will be absolutely wonderful. This is where I sometimes sit. It's a nice chair. It's completely surrounded by hedge, except for one little vista down the back of the garden. And you can sit here and in the old days read a newspaper, and nowadays look at the news on your iPhone. And those flat arms are jolly handy because you can put a glass of something on those and it won't fall over too easily. So leave me at peace on this chair, and thank you for looking, and I hope to see you soon in June. Bye.